Hello everyone. We have a game with the black pieces against Pinko Palinko. He opens with d4 and goes down the London system. So let's play c5 on move 2, attacking his setup right from the get-go. He plays c3, which protects the pawn, but is not e3. Pretty sure e3 is a little better. I'm going to go queen b6, only bringing out the queen early in this specific line. What is this? So this is a bad response. This guy's rated 1904, and he's trying to neutralize the damage, but I think that just leaves him with a terrible pawn structure. Do I have better? I don't think so. Let's take it. He has to take, and then we take here. He has to take. Well, he doesn't have to, but... And now this is a really bad structure, and I can plant a knight here maybe. So if I develop a knight immediately, I'm hitting this and looking at that square. I can also target the bishop first. Which one? I'm going to throw in the free move because it's free, and you don't get... I might not get another chance at the free move. Like, what if he moves his bishop back or just protects it, and then this move's not free? See, now I get it in, and I get this knight with this, and now they coordinate. I feel like the free move has to be the way to go without knowing theory. If you know theory, you could just do that. Okay, so jumping in here does come with threats. He can't just develop his knight. He could bring out the rook, though. But then he can lose castling rights, and I can go back. I could just develop. Surprise, surprise. Develop or just activate immediately? Activating immediately comes with the risk. Does it though? I mean, this knight's pretty terrible, so let's improve it for free. I'm gonna improve it for free because it's free. Okay, but doesn't this walk into this? First I take the knight, so my knight's not hanging. And then he has to take back, and then this? What? He doesn't even get the exchange, and he's completely undeveloped. Okay, so now he's trying to get the exchange by restricting my knight. But I'm going to develop my light square bishop with tempo by going b5. If he takes, I can free my knight with check, and this simultaneously gives me the best diagonal from a bishop. So it does three awesome things. It's a great, beautiful, high-level move. And I'm going to take with check. Evacuating my knight. He's attacking it. We can continue our evacuation. He develops a knight. He's trying to get active. He's almost there. Almost there. I think we need to handle this bishop. I want to go here, but I can't. I'm gonna throw in a move that gives him the opportunity of going wrong. He should go here, but instead he goes to the more natural central move. But this allows me to do this move I want, which stifles both of his pieces, and just controls the dark square and the diagonal, so I can put my rook here. So I think this is very important. See, now he's attacking the knight, but who cares about that, right? I can just move it. I wanted to move it back towards the center anyway, so attacking it doesn't do anything. He should have tried to control the open file. So now he moves his bishop again to a square he could have moved before. Weird. You could push this pawn, but I want to develop. So maybe just g6. See, oh, he's trying this. So g6, knight in. Well, then you kind of have to play e6. I mean, in that case, you could just play e6 now and just put the bishop here, and now we have d5 in the future. This works. We can create what's called the small pawn center. Since we're up a rook, we're just trying to consolidate because he has, his pieces out. He's trying to counterplay, but we're up a rook. So if we can ever just develop castle, we're up a rook and we win. So we just use these as little barbed wire to control the squares pieces might try to enter our territory. Okay, so now he's just moving the bishop back and forth. It's like the 10th time. So we're going to develop. Bishop out. Okay, he's moving his knight around, so let's just castle. Whatever. There might be like even better moves, but I mean, this is fine. He puts his knight here, but that blocks his bishop. It does hit this pawn. I mean, I don't see the big deal. We could even push the pawn, but let's continue developing. What does that look like? Maybe this. I mean, this pawn's hanging. I don't really care. We could just push it away. Let's do the other one. Let's do e5. It discoordinates them. If he wants to take, he's got to trade stuff, and trades are good for me since I'm up a rook. So now if he wants to win this pawn, he's got to trade a piece, and he opened up lines for my bishops. This is exactly what I want. At the cost of a pawn, I'll take this any day. Now his king is right here, beautiful. My pieces can get out so easily. This looks so much better than what I had. All for a pawn, I'll pay that price any day of the week. Now we can improve our bishop for free. I don't care that this ruins our pawn structure because I'm up a rook. Pawn structure will be completely irrelevant in this game. So he ignores and counterattacks our rook. I have a good mind to take this and take this. You could definitely do that. What else can we do? There's this cheeky bishop f5. Oh my god, this is brilliant. I can't believe this works. We're pinning the bishop so he can't take the rook. He either has, it's a bishop trade. He doesn't get to do what he wants, and it connects the rooks with tempo while hanging. This is such a cool move. And look at these staring at each other. I don't think I've ever had this in any of my games ever in my life. Two bishops like that. So he takes the light square, so I get the dark square. That was super awesome. And now we're up a rook. So we just put it back on its nice post. We can throw a rook here once the bishop moves. We can also push this pawn. It is opposite the color bishop, but we're up a rook. Let's just kick the bishop. Oh, he pushed the pawn and hang the rook, but I insta-moved. Okay. Now we're up 2 rooks. I'm not expecting them to hang a full rook like that. I mean, look at this move. He just insta-moves and hangs the rook, but in my mind, I was already playing g6 to kick the bishop and make a cubby hole for my king. That I insta-moved and then I see it. So he resigned, so that's awesome. 29 move game against 1900. So white opens up with the London. We attack it with the C pawn. Very sharp lines, trying to break down the center. The best move is to push past, but they rarely do so. And you will rarely face it unless you're like higher than 2100. So they usually just defend it with a pawn. And then you can go queen b6, an idea like in the French, which applies pressure to the dark squares, these two specifically. And he kind of has to address the b2 pawn, because if you let that collapse, there's your rook and there's the c3 pawn. But if he addresses that pawn, then maybe I can take, disconnecting his pawns and opening up that square for my bishop, creating some dark square problems for him. So that's the only reason I'm doing this queen move. It's very specific to this line. And okay, so he brings his queen out, which I don't think is good because it looks natural. But it looks natural if I take his queen, he takes back, and he can keep this cluster of pawns. Then it looks really good for him. You know, open rook, nice pawn cluster. But that's not the case because I get to take and then take and separate his pawn so he doesn't keep it. And so now these are double isolated pawns, and more importantly, the square in front of them, b4, is a beautiful outpost for my pieces. So I already like this for black. So now you could do a ton of moves here, but I want to do free moves because they're extra. You get them for free. We can do this move, and then when he goes back, you can do whatever move you were going to do before this move. And now you have two moves. So we just bring out the other knight, a threat and a coordination. And now again, we are moving the same piece, but because of threats. So it's for free. And then you can go back to doing whatever other move you were going to do. And then he goes here, giving the exchange. So free stuff, free stuff, free stuff. He goes here. I went b5, trying to escape, not escape. What's the word? The other word for rescue. Trying to extricate? I don't know. Extricate the knight. And I'm just noticing now that although he took the pawn, which was my plan, I totally missed he could do this. And that would have complicated matters significantly. Black's still better. I would have to take the pawn with check. So I get some material. He'll attack my knight, because if you take the knight, you don't get the rook. I'll move my knight, and then he'll take the rook. I'm still up material, I'm still better, but that would have complicated the game. Whoops. So not b5. And I'm like, high level move. High level blunder, maybe. Okay, so if not b5, and I want to get my knight out, what's another move? Let me rethink this. I guess you can attack this pawn. Since you're not developed, you can't do it with pieces. So a5, and then whatever he does. Actually, you're not in time, right? a4. He takes your knight. I mean, you could always just take this because you'll want his rook, and you can take pawns and more material, so. What else is there? I guess next move he's going to go here, and I mean, that's just so fast that you don't have enough turns to do anything. The only potential move would have been my b5 decoy, but a deflection. But yeah, that walks directly into bishop d5, which, whoops. He doesn't see it. He takes the pawn. So now we get to, have a super easy game. Just up a free rook instead of a piece or an exchange or two pawns or something like that. So even though he has two nice bishops out, we're up a rook. So a forced move. And now this is a free move. So if he stayed on this diagonal, I still wouldn't be able to move the d-pawn. But I was giving him an option, a choice, to not do that and to go on the wrong diagonal. And this move doesn't worsen my position, and it's for free, so why not give him a chance to go wrong? That was my thinking. So he goes there, and that allows me to move my pawn, so I do it, and stifle his pieces, controlling the center. He attacks my knight, so force move. And now, boom, just development and center. Now that we won our rook, we want to go back to the basic stuff. Development and center. Well, just development. King safety. And now this is center and development. If you look at our position, this bishop is kind of whatever. This bishop's also looking at pawns. Our knight's restricted, right? Our rook's nowhere open to go except the b file, but this guy should babysit this pawn, maybe this one, but right? So the fact that I'm losing a pawn here with e5 does not matter in the least. And so I don't want you to make a move like d5 when you have a move like e5. e5, I love this move. It just breaks through on the square that's most defended by his army. And okay, so look at this position, right? Look at the restriction of my pieces, and now He takes, I take, he wins the pawn. I take, he takes. All those pawns are gone. Now what are my bishops looking at? Are they looking at pawns? No, sir. Look at that. Okay, this one, but it's actually protecting that, so that makes sense. And my rooks, they can go wherever they want now. Full freedom. And it's super open. You can just see how it's, you know, I solved any potential problem that could be there. So he has pressure on this pawn, so you give it to him. Like, let him take it. So what? You're still up a rook, right? You don't need to babysit this. You can just develop here. You can go here. You can. Who cares about the pawn, really? You just want to trade stuff. Trade the bishops, and you're up a rook. An easy game. So we just go for the trade of bishops, and then he tries this, and then I find this, which, okay, we'll say this is the high-level move. The other one was a blunder. So, okay, this will make up for my oversight earlier. I'll go with that. And now it pins the bishop, so he can't win the rook. It's just a cool move. So he picks one of the bishops, whichever one he takes. I mean, if he takes the dark one, he loses both, right? Because you take with check and then the other one. So he has to take the light bishop. So force move, solidifying move. And then he hangs his rook, but I instantly g6'd and then took the rook, and he resigned. So really cool game. I love bishop f5 find. And what does this tell you? Well, you can say if someone does the London against you, there's this line with c5 and queen b6. I mean against c3. If he plays something else, I might not have played queen b6, but you can see how we're just attacking the dark square pawn chain, similar to the French, but it's nuanced in its own way. So just an idea for you to look at, maybe to try in some games, unrated or not. Submit your games in my Discord. Good luck in your chess. Bye.